is one that I don't think Matt thinks that fondly of. I don't think Gary would care that greatly of it, but it was the first time I'd sort of stepped out of my comfort zone with drama, in as much as I was watching people that weren't like me, and I know that sounds really demeaning to anyone, but I like to watch things.
So you saw yourself in the cast of Cold Feet, yes?
Well, no, I saw people I knew in the cast. I could, people I knew in the cast of Cold Feet, but in the next one, it was like it was.
Oh, I think I know what it is. I think I know
what
it
is. Go on, tell me, because I want to know. It is. It's Shameless, and on paper, I shouldn't have liked this. It was full of bad language, which I'm still adverse to in a drama. I don't think you need it. If you're writing well drawn out characters and things, they don't need to F and Jeff to get their point across.
Fiddlesticks, you hate that, don't you?
I hate fiddlesticks, yeah. And on paper, I shouldn't have liked this at all. It was full of sex scenes, and I remember thinking, oh my god, this 70-year-old woman will have just fast-forwarded a tiny bit and caught the end of this and gone, what the hell is he watching this for? When I talk about Shameless, I'm talking about what I call its glory years. So the first 5 series of Shameless, before it became sort of a parody of itself. Again, we're going back
a bit like Teachers, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's
you don't mean the American remake with William H. Macy then? Shame.
Which apparently is still going guns blazing, but I've never really been able to give it a proper go, because I can't disconnect it from our version, but I might do one day. Shameless was about a council estate, the Chatsworth estate. It was the first time I had seen people like James McAvoy and Anne-Marie Duff and Maxine Peake and Dean Lennox Kelly and David Threlfall and the young cast, who at the time I thought were brilliant. But it was autobiographical of Paul Abbott's home life. He grew up very, very poor, with a lot of siblings, raised by his elder sister after his dad was a bit of a layabout and a letdown. His mum disappeared when he was really young, and so he grew up on this council estate, sort of lawless, and there was elements of comedy there, there was drama. It felt very gritty but very real, but I found myself quite quickly identifying with the predicaments these people were in and actually caring about them. And when you mention Shameless to a lot of people, they will reference the Shannon Matthews case, which was a girl who was reported missing and then found in her aunt's house. But that idea for them to get a bit of press and hide the child away came from an episode of Shameless where Rebecca Ryan's character, young Debbie, found a young boy wandering around, of about 4 years old, wandering around, liked the look of him, took him home to play with and dress up and mess about with, and then all hell broke loose, saying this kid was missing, and they had to smuggle him back into the party. It was sort of done comedically, but the Shannon Matthews family since came out and said, well, we got the idea from Shameless, because they got a lot of recognition on the news and things, and they liked that idea of being in the spotlight for a bit.
He was just laughing with them and playing with them. I couldn't see the faces. It's not fair.
Hey, what wasn't fair?
Everything. So, I nicked something.
You... From the party?
Jesus, Debbie. We aren't nearly stopped then.
Give it a rest, Debs. We've all done it. You, right? Well done for owning up, but don't try it again. Definitely not if confessions are your strong point.
Now listen to me. No, listen to me. Faster we get information. What are you called? Come on, what are your names?
Jackie and Stuart.
Right, Jackie, Stuart. Believe me, faster we get information, faster we know what to do. Now there's a team on the way and we need precise details. When did you last see Jodie?
12:30 in the garden.
Age?
3 next week.
Kid, up the street. Snatched. Thinner.
Oh, God help us.
Jodie. She was outside the gate. No one was watching.
Debbie, did she walk up to you and you just spotted her?
And you're happy? that we found you when you were looking for your mum on the street and you'd no idea where she belongs, so you brought her here.
So that we could help you?
No, she had a party bag, John.
So why'd you take her?
She was crying for her mum. Where was her mum? Nobody cared.
They will now. Fuck's sake, this is all we need. Are you right in the bloody head?
Hey.
Oh!
Fiona, calm down, all right? Kids get lost all the time. We take her back. We'll take her back and we say...
We're gonna take you home, aren't we, Jodie?
Hi, what's going on?
It's okay, Angela. Me and Ian were just having a laugh.
You're still doing insurance claims, Lee?
What are you after?
I'm thinking. I wins March the 18th. Aerial goes through the roof.
For Christ's sake!
Sending water 2 floors down, that's 2 ceilings, 3 carpets and an ICAM toilet.
Do you know how much aerial weighs?
No?
I'd have to say the chimney went.
Chimney then, how much do you charge?
Right, 10 for the forms filling in, 20 when the claim's paid, plus labour for pretend rubber because you don't actually have a chimney.
Paul Abbott left the show. It was his baby. It was his life story, a skew on his life story, and so when he left, it sort of became, well, it wasn't about it wasn't about anything really. By the end, Anne-Marie Duff went on and did other things. She married James McAvoy whilst they were filming this. James McAvoy went off and did big things.
Lord King of Scotland.
The kids obviously grew up and went away and lost their sort of cuteness that all child actors have. They sort of went off and did their own thing, and it became less about the original family, the Gallaghers, and more about sort of the surrounding areas.
Tina Malone,
and even past that, you know. And there was some great groundbreaking, or in my eyes, some great groundbreaking stuff in there. Ian was a young gay character who was working with, in a corner shop run by
Chris
Bisson, who was an Indian character, and they had a gay affair, and that was quite groundbreaking for me at the time. To see
I mean,
that.
I remember watching the first series and quite liking it, but I think I just sort of fell out of... It's not something that I ever carried on with, and as you say, it just sort of dragged on.
It's sad because it's one of those shows that in its first 5 series, maybe even to the early part of 6, it was still one to watch and talk about, and then it just became like so many other shows before and after it where, oh, is this still on? You know, and that's a shame. And I did tune in for the final episode, which was only a few years ago, where Anne-Marie Duff made a brief appearance, but its best years were behind it after Series 5 and certainly Series 6. But I just think it shone a light on a side of the UK which doesn't actually get shown a lot on telly, even now doesn't get a lot of showing on TV. Perhaps it does in documentaries, but certainly not in drama, the big budget dramas the BBC and ITV are making now. It was an era where Channel 4 were doing more of these comedic dramas, so it was on at the same sort of time as Teachers and other things, and Queer as Folk had not long finished, and so Channel 4 had cornered the market on that sort of thing.